Hollywood taught us saloons were glamorous centers of adventure.
Picture piano music, high-stakes poker, and epic quick-draw gunfights. Reality of the frontier drinking hole was a filthy, brutal nightmare.
20 dark truths about real saloons you will never see in movies.
Truth 1. The whiskey was literally poison.
Real whiskey was too expensive to ship out west, so bartenders faked it.
Tarantula juice, mixing raw alcohol with burnt sugar and tobacco. It frequently contained ammonia, gunpowder, or strychnine just to give it a kick. Men regularly went blind or suffered severe internal bleeding from saloon liquor.
There was no quality control, and nobody cared if it killed you.
Truth 2. Your beer was always warm and mostly flat. Ice was a rare luxury on the frontier. Everything was served at room temperature.
Beer had to survive brutal, month-long wagon journeys across scorching deserts. By the time a keg reached a mining camp, it was often sour. But desperate parched men drank it anyway, paying ridiculous prices.
Truth 3. Inflation in saloon towns was completely out of control.
A single shot of fake whiskey could cost a full day's wages.
Bartenders and saloon owners made more money than the miners ever did.
Many men drank away their entire fortunes in a single weekend.
If you couldn't pay, you were thrown out into the mud immediately. Truth 4. Real saloon violence wasn't glamorous quick-draw duels. Fights were ugly, drunken brawls involving broken bottles and heavy chairs. Stabbings in crowded dark corners were incredibly common and often fatal. If someone died, the body was quickly dragged out so drinking could resume.
Bartenders just threw fresh sawdust over the blood and kept serving.
Truth 5. The funny town drunk was a tragic reality of addiction.
Severe alcohol withdrawals and delirium tremens killed many isolated frontiersmen.
No, they're coming! Help! Please, just one more. When the money ran out, the saloon turned its back on them.
Men routinely passed out in the freezing mud or horse troughs.
Countless pioneers died completely anonymous, buried in unmarked graves behind saloons.
Truth 6. Saloons doubled as the only banks in many frontier towns.
Miners trusted bartenders with their entire life savings over shady traveling bankers.
You can count on me.
Bartenders kept detailed ledgers, tracking deposits and debts for hundreds of men.
I want my money back! But if a saloon owner decided to rob you, you had no recourse.
Many men woke up to find the saloon owner had fled with everything. Truth 7. Saloons were also hotels, but rarely had actual beds.
You paid just for the privilege of sleeping on the floor inside.
There was no privacy, no heat, and a high chance of getting robbed.
Premium lodging meant sleeping on top of the billiard table. Lice, bedbugs, and disease spread rapidly through these crowded floor sleepers.
Truth 8. Without Kurth houses, saloons acted as the town's justice system.
Juries were often picked from the bar, drinking heavily during the trial.
Get on with it!
Yeah, more beer!
You stole that horse! Order in the court!
I didn't, I swear!
Judges used whatever was handy to call for order. If found guilty, the hanging happened immediately right out the back door.
No! Please!
Truth 9. Women were highly successful saloon owners, not just workers. They were fierce businesswomen who tolerated absolutely no disrespect. Many women found independence and immense wealth running frontier bars. They strictly controlled their establishments, protecting their staff from violent men.
What the day?
In a wild world, their saloons were often the safest places in town.
Truth 10. Saloons acted as the primary newsroom for isolated pioneers.
Mail drops happened at the saloon, making it the center of town communication.
Walls were covered in job postings, warnings about outlaws, and messages from home.
If you needed to know town gossip or find work, you went to the bar.
Every major political event or war update broke first inside the saloon walls.
Truth 11. The floors were unspeakably filthy. Chewing tobacco was everywhere, and men rarely aimed for the spittoons. Spittoons overflowed, creating slick, highly contagious puddles of disease. Patrons tracked in horse manure, mud, and animal blood on their boots. The stench of a packed saloon floor in the summer was truly unbearable.
Truth 12. Almost all saloon gambling was totally rigged.
Professional grifters used marked cards, loaded dice, and hidden mirrors. Drunk miners were incredibly easy targets for these sharp-suited predators.
You cheating snake!
If you caught them cheating, you were usually the one who got shot. Men lost their gold claims, horses, and entire livelihoods at rigged tables.
Truth 13. The famous free lunch was an incredible scam.
Saloons offered free food, but it was heavily oversalted to induce massive thirst. Men would eat the free food, then instantly buy 3 overpriced beers. The meat was often rotten or infested with maggots, masked by extreme spices. Food poisoning ran rampant, often passed off as just a bad hangover.
Truth 14. Dishwashing was functionally non-existent.
Glasses were quickly wiped out with a singular, filthy rag used all week. Communal drinking glasses meant diseases like tuberculosis spread like absolute wildfire. There was no sanitation. You drank the spit of the man before you.
I'll take it.
To survive a saloon, you needed an iron stomach and an immune system of steel.
Truth 15. The bar tab was a weapon used to trap men in debt.
When the cash ran dry, bartenders accepted watches, guns, and horses as collateral.
This'll do.
Eventually, men were manipulated into signing away their highly valuable mining claims.
Many legendary frontier fortunes were built entirely on unpaid bar tabs.
The men who actually dug the gold often left town with absolutely nothing. Truth 16. The lawmen were often the heaviest drinkers in the building. They drank freely on duty, frequently ignoring the violence breaking out around them. Many sheriffs were heavily bribed by saloon owners to look the other way. An intoxicated lawman with a loaded six-shooter was the biggest danger in town.
No, not me!
The line between a righteous lawman and a drunken outlaw was practically invisible. Truth 17. Saloon music was almost universally terrible. Pianos were ruined by extreme weather, dust, and totally lacked professional tuning.
Most musicians were just desperate amateurs trying to earn a free drink.
Usually, the only rhythm came from men banging bottles and stomping boots.
But most nights, the only soundtrack was the deafening roar of a brawl. Truth 18. Animals were constantly wandering inside the saloons. Feral dogs routinely fought over dropped food right under the poker tables.
Swarms of flies covered every sticky surface during the brutal summer heat.
Finding bugs in your warm beer was just a regular part of the experience.
Sometimes, a horse would just walk right in. Truth 19. The saloon era collapsed suddenly under a wave of extreme moral outrage. By the early 20th century, towns began legally voting to board up the bars. The filthy, lawless shacks were demolished to build proper, civilized towns.
Truth 20. Hollywood replaced the grim truth with a highly profitable, sanitized myth.
The real Wild West saloon wasn't an adventure. It was a desperate test of survival.